Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your co-host, Boom Al Gato, the cat that hands you your housewives back. And to my right over here is the main man who's to know that man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form that dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, blood, and spicier content. There goes OnlyFans.
What's up, everybody? Before we get into the topic tonight, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit. And with that, let's get right into it. So, I learned some new terminology this week that I never heard of before, but apparently it's a big old thing on TikTok. Tradwives. Tradwives. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard the terminology, I thought it was going to go somewhere completely different than where it actually went. Tradwives stands for traditional wives. What this is apparently there's a lot of influencers on TikTok that are going back to the traditional roots, basically being a homemaker, taking care of the home, children, cooking, cleaning, so on and so forth. Now, apparently also on TikTok, when this trend started going around, a lot of people started going on and saying a lot of negative things, basically saying, oh, that's gross, why would you do that? Have fun with, your husband beating the crap out of you, bringing up all this negativity. And here's the problem that I have with it. So feminism was about choice. Feminism was about the empowerment of women being able to do whatever they want. If those same women, those women that claim to be feminists, are saying ew, no, and in fact, I'll throw up a picture in this video to show one instance where I specifically saw it on my Facebook with a female friend of mine who was saying that she would love to go back to, being a 1950s housewife, and she got a negative response from one of her friends. If the whole point was about choice, why would you feminists care if a woman decides that she wants to go back to being a 1950s housewife? It's so weird to me because, again, just like we did in the previous videos we shot earlier today, the left is turning into either you agree with me 100%, otherwise you're not really part of the left. Because, again, if a woman says, you know what, I've done the working world, I've done the homemaker thing, I prefer to do the homemaker thing, what's the problem? It's really annoying because, again, it just seems to be one of these things where it's turning into either you must agree with me 100% or you're not really part of the left. And I'm not gonna lie, man, it's slowly pushing me out. And I'm okay with it, man. If people want to consider me not a leftist, I'm more than okay with it. I think it's a little bullshit that a woman can't make a decision if she wants to stay home. My friend in particular, she says that she didn't want to go back because she just had a newborn baby girl and she wants to stay there with her. She's like, I can't imagine being away from her. I just love seeing her every day. I'd love to spend more and more time with her, but unfortunately for her, she's got to go back to work. But again, the mere fact that she stated it on Facebook that she would love to go back to that lifestyle, and some other woman had the audacity to be like, ew, no. Like, it's one thing to say, look, not for me. It's one thing to say, I wouldn't live that way. It's another thing to say, ew, no, and then, go on to say, oh, and this is how I live. It's insulting, man. You're trying to degrade this woman's choice. And again, I thought it was all about choice. What do you want to add to that, man?
Yeah, so I was watching a video on Patient Zena, and she was actually the one that I actually saw on this tradwife phenomenon. She actually delved a little bit further into it. Patience, by the way, love you, appreciate your videos. Anyways, there was a couple people that tried to give their sentiments on the tradwife thing and why it was supposed to be going to be a toxic for women. And one of the arguments was that basically you're putting all of your financial eggs in a basket. Basically this man has all the power. He can do whatever he wants with you, and you're just kind of there sitting at home or whatever. And they try to lean it towards the topic of DA, unwanted violence, what have you. And Patience, the person that was doing the video, basically said, I can understand where they're coming from on this. I wanted to do a little bit more research. And she actually found something very interesting on that. So this is a study done on the UK, in which they reported the statistics of DA victims between different households, between employed, unemployed, and a third one I'll get to in a bit later because it's interesting. Anyways, so it looked like for unemployed people were actually the ones that reported most cases of domestic
abuse
incidences.
Yeah.
And domestic people were going to be way lower than that. However, that third one that I was talking about, and this is where I have to give a little bit of context, is for unemployed people, they were the one that experienced the most violences. For employed people, they're ones that had a little bit or a lot less violence. The third one was the one that was interesting because in the UK, when they conducted the study, women that are actually taking care of the home more often, basically being the caretakers of the home, didn't qualify under the category of unemployed. What they were actually under was under inactive. So basically, it was a third category altogether. And that third category was actually the one that experienced the least amount of DA incidences, even below employed people, which is a lot of it, which is very interesting because that basically blows out that rhetoric of, okay, you're going to be more prone to DA incidences more so if you're a trad wife. So that blows that argument way out of the water. Now, look, if you want to have a conversation about putting all your financial eggs into one basket, cool. I will agree with you. That is a bit of risk. I can agree with you on that sentiment. But to say that they're more at risk for DA incidences, more so if they're being a trad wife, that's where you got me messed up. Because again, as it states in this UK study, it looks like that's not the case.
And you know, it's funny because here's the thing. I'll keep it 100 with you. I don't. I know a lot of times we conjure up this image of like the 1950s where the husbands could basically free reign, you know, whoop the ass of their wife. Here's the thing. All the studies that I've looked at, there was no epidemic of this happening. Did it happen? Sure. Which I'm sure it happens now. I'm sure it happens from man to woman. Woman to man, so on and so forth. I'm not saying these incidents don't happen, but people drop this weird image just because it was technically more acceptable, if that's what you want to call it, back in the day, 1950s and such, where it was okay for it to happen. But it wasn't no widespread epidemic that it was happening. It's so fucking weird that people are drawing the image. Not just that, but I can't remember the main influencer's name, but the main woman who was like the face of this trad wife thing on TikTok. People were calling her a Nazi because she chose to, you know, kind of portray herself in that 1950s, 1960s, you know, manner of dress. People were saying, oh, you're a Nazi, you know, you're promoting white supremacy and blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. Like telling, oh, have fun getting beat by your husband, you know, all these negative things, man. And she came out, she's like, look, I would never promote anything like white supremacy. I don't want to be associated with that type of thing in any way, shape, or form. She's like, this is just the way that I choose to dress for, you know, this particular, you know, lifestyle that I choose to live. And that's, again, the core aspect of the whole situation is like, this is this woman's choice. And you know what? It's funny because in that same thing, when people were calling this woman, because she was white, they were calling this woman a Nazi and saying that she was promoting Nazism. There was an article done. There is a myriad of black women who are also choosing to be trad wives. So it just blows that point out of the water. Like, there's a lot of women that just prefer to stay at home. I don't get what's so hard for people to understand that. What's the problem? Why can't you feminists just let these women live? If a woman says, you know what, I'm not drawing the same amount of fulfillment from a work life that I am from my children or from taking care of my home or taking care of my husband, what's the problem? There's plenty of women out here and there's plenty of men that love women that work all the time. Now, I know obviously it's not as common for the man to stay at home and the woman to work, but I actually just saw a video on Vice where it was 3 different gentlemen that they were interviewing that they were all stay-at-home husbands. And here's the thing. I didn't think to myself, oh, she beats the crap out of him. No, not at all. She just happened to make more money than him. They just had a little daughter, and he's like, you know what? One of us had to be the stay-at-home because a lot of studies, which a lot of you idiots should read, shows that children benefit when they have more time, generally speaking, in 2-parent households and at least one of the parents staying home.
We actually covered this a couple times.
We covered it. We've discussed it on a few different topics, and we actually gave a whole video about it. So go look at those damn studies. Don't get mad at us. They're the studies that have been performed over and over and over again. And again, by far, 2-parent households with at least one parent staying home, the child does way better. Now, back onto this topic. What's the problem if a woman decides that she wants to be? I don't have a problem if a man decides to be. If I got with a woman and she's like, you know what, I make $1 million a year, you make a measly $80,000 a year. You want to be a stay-at-home? I mean, I don't know if I personally could do it, but I wouldn't have a problem with any other man doing it. It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and get mad at someone else's lifestyle because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. A lot of people were talking shit to this woman because like, oh, you're promoting it, you're glamorizing it, and blah blah blah. A lot of women want to live this way. Again, I have female friends by what I was talking about a second ago on my Facebook. They want to live this way. I have, and I'm gonna use a different name because this isn't her real name. I work with this girl. She's 26 years old. Who she on a weekly basis basically says, feminists ruined it for us. I want to be in. This is her quote. This isn't me. I want to be a 1950s housewife. Now, she's only been with her dude for about 3 or 4 months, something like that, so she hasn't worked up the courage to ask him to be a stay-at-home spouse or whatever. But she says, like, look, she's doing the professional work thing. She's working in a professional environment, nice office, all that good stuff. She's not feeling it. She would much rather be the stay-at-home wife. And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that the left just keeps digging into all these stupid fucking issues, man, is really annoying, because why can't you just let people live? Why can't it just be, the same way that I would say, look, man, when back in the day when conservatives were all about, gays shouldn't be married. Why shouldn't gays get married? Let them live. The same way that right now in the climate, a lot of people, who's that dude that said transgender people should be eradicated or something, or the transgenderism should be eradicated?
I don't remember.
I don't remember the douchebag's name, but whatever. The same way that he says, I'm like, why? Why should they be eradicated? Let them live. As long as they're not hurting anybody, what's the problem? And these trad wives, they're not hurting anybody. Leave them alone. Let them live their lives. If a woman wants to go out and be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or whatever, cool, awesome. Empowerment, awesome. If she wants to be a stay-at-home wife and take care of the kids and the household and her husband, cool, awesome. Empowerment, great, do it. Stop trying to make everything about your issues. If a woman chooses to do something, let her do it. Again, stop making this about you must agree with me 100% or you're not part of our group. It's bullshit. Want to add something to that, my man?
Yeah, I'm going to add a theory as to why this is happening. I feel like because we've covered the female happiness paradox on the show, and we've actually discussed the fact that the more rights a woman have in developing countries, the less happier they get as time moves on, whatever.
Caveat, because I don't want anyone to misinterpret that. We're not saying women should have less rights. The reason we brought up the female happiness paradox is because since the 1970s, women have consistently been gaining more and more rights. But women, on average now, 1 in 4 women are on antidepressants. Right now, women are, this is isn't even me saying, this isn't the study coming to this conclusion. This is women self-admitting that they are less happy now that they've been in since 1970, in the last 50 years. You would think theoretically they'd be happier because, again, they have more and more rights. They're able to own a house on their own, they're able to have their own bank account, own credit cards, all that, so on and so forth. So, but since that time, they've become less happy, and that's their own self-reporting. Go ahead, man.
An important distinction, yes. And I think this is basically them going against their own ways, basically tradition beating out modernism. Honestly, I think the whole thing is a big cope. Well, again, like he said, that as time goes on, more and more women happen to be on more antidepressants, which would again signify that more people are depressed, more anxious, especially with the economy going down more than ever, and people having to pay more and more in terms of bills. I think this is basically them saying, "All right, I'm cool. I'm out of the market. If he wants to take care of this, cool. That's on him." But the women that are getting angry about this, I think this is just basically one big cope for them. They're mad that they're getting all of this, but they don't have anything for themselves. And I understand the frustration, but you can't be mad at somebody else's happiness for something that you didn't achieve yourself.
And you can't be mad at your own choices. Look, let me give you this example. We've all thought about winning the lottery, right? We've all fantasized, what would I do with the money? I'd pay off my debt, I'd buy a house, blah, blah, blah. We've all fantasized. So here's the thing. Imagine that you win the lottery, and at that point you can make a decision. I can continue to work, which, let's be honest, you wouldn't need to because you won the lottery, or you can say, or I'm going to be a stay-at-home. Now, when you're making this decision as to what you're going to do, everything that runs through your mind is, do I really want to keep stressing myself out by going to work? Do I really want to put up with those people? With if you're in customer service, do I want to put up with the customers? If you work in hospitality, do I want to really, be taking care of these people in this manner, so on and so forth. Like, you run through all these ideas in your mind, because now you have an option. You have an option of either I can keep working or I can stay at home. Women that have chosen to stay at home, they're saying all that they're putting up with the bosses, they're putting up with the schedules, they're putting up with the customers. They're saying it's not worth it to me, and I'm choosing to stay home. So I have a problem with, again, if you want to be a doctor, lawyer, teacher, whatever, props to you. Go out there and pursue it. But don't persecute another woman because she wants to be a stay-at-home. She's saying, I don't dig the rat race. It's funny to me. One of my exes chose to be a stay-at-home for a really long time. And when I asked her, because I told her, look, you can do whatever you want. If you want to go to school, go to school. You want to work, go to work. If you want to stay home, be a stay-at-home. Luckily, I made enough to where in this economy, we could afford to do that. Now, With that being said, when I asked her why she ended up deciding to be a stay-home, she said number one thing, she wanted to spend more time with her son. She wanted to be able to be there from school. She felt bad that she wasn't always there. She felt bad that she couldn't spend quality time with them like she could, when he was still a baby. Now, because at that time she wasn't working. So that's the thing. Some people just derive happiness from different things, and to tell a woman you're wrong for deriving happiness from staying at home with your kids or staying at home, to take care of home, or even staying at home to tend to your husband. Like, for a lot of women, when a man truly provides for them, gives them everything, pays, for their car. For example, with me, I was paying for a car, for a phone, for bags, for fucking nail trips, for her family, her sister, her niece. I was paying for all that. So for her to be like, you know what, I want to stay home and I want to take care of you. I want to massage you, blah, 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 blah. What's the problem? What's the problem? It's just so stupid to me that, like, again, the left is just getting so fucking ridiculous with this shit. Where either you must agree with us 100% or you're out of the group. Oh, yeah, I'm cool. I'm out. Push me out. I don't give a fuck.
I think that's it for me, brother.
All right, with that being said, like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.